Hi, I'm Antonio, and welcome to BrickBits. Today, we'll be reviewing and rating the 2020 LEGO Star Wars Obi-Wan's hut. This set takes place on Tatooine during Episode 4, and this is the first time that we've actually seen this scene in a LEGO set before. It contains one structure and 4 minifigures, all in exactly 200 pieces. This set depicts one of the first scenes in A New Hope, where Luke and Obi-Wan meet and we get to see Leia's holographic message. Let's start off with the exterior of the hut. It's mostly tan in color, and it's got a very prominent hinged dome on top. The walls have extra texture which gives it a weathered appearance. It's got an exhaust on the side and a removable exterior storage box. There's a main doorway with a keypad, but no door. And on the other side, we have 2 small windows. And around the back, we have a somewhat awkward gaping hole with clips on the bottom and on the sides. We'll get back to this in a little bit, but first, let's take a look inside. In order to open it up, you simply pull outwards on the front 2 quarters, and then lift up on the dome. This reveals a surprisingly detailed interior, complete with tables, chairs, a kitchen, a storage box, some shelves, as well as a few places to mount things on the walls. On the back wall, we see a Gadurfi stick, or Gaffy stick, which is the weapon used by Tuscan Raiders. And next to it, we see a mini kitchen of sorts with a pot of soup. The soup is actually made up of 2 flat green studs, and you can remove one to make it look like there's less soup inside if you want. On the right table, we have a clear cup with an unprinted milk container. And on the left table, Leia's hologram. Let's take a closer look at it. It's transparent light blue, and it's 2 bricks tall. On close inspection, you can see it really does look like a cloaked Leia minifigure. This piece is exclusive to this set, and it definitely increases the overall desirability. On the left side of the hut, we have some shelves with some miscellaneous objects. Some of these will be important in just a moment. On the right side, we have a removable chest that contains Anakin's lightsaber and a training remote droid, which is simply a printed minifigure head. In order to display it, you're supposed to use some of those items I mentioned earlier on the left wall. If you take this stud and this clear pole, you can make it look like the droid is levitating. I personally prefer not to use the stud on the bottom because I think it looks better if you just flip the head upside down. I really like the use of a head in this set versus one of those spherical pieces. I feel like the head honestly makes it feel a lot more like a classic LEGO Star Wars set, where this is the sort of thing we saw a lot more often. At least for now, this is an exclusive piece to this set, although I suspect we'll be seeing it in a future Millennium Falcon release. Let's continue on the inside. The chest is somewhat large and it completely blocks the doorway, but it does come right out. Speaking of the doorway, you may notice that my printed tile here is different than the style that you would see elsewhere, like on the instructions, the packaging, and everywhere else you can find pictures of this set. And this isn't a mistake, this is the piece that came with my set, and it looks like LEGO swapped out the piece sometime around early 2020 to switch it over to this blue version from the red one. I'm not exactly sure why they did this, but I assume it's because maybe they were going to stop making the red piece and they just transitioned over to the blue one. And behind the keypad, you'll notice there's this black mounting piece. I think it looks a little odd that the mounting piece behind the keypad is black versus dark tan, like the rest of the trim line, and it actually looks like LEGO doesn't make that piece in dark tan at all, and I think this would have been a good opportunity to do so. Overall, the hut is very conservative in size, but once you open it up, it's surprisingly spacious, and it's executed much better than the 2004 Mos Eisley Cantina that I recently reviewed. It resembles the hut from the movie very well on both the interior and the exterior. Let's move on to the minifigures. First up, we have Obi-Wan. He's got flesh-colored skin, unprinted beige legs, and a robed torso with both front and back printing. He's got a pretty detailed bearded face and a generic light gray hairpiece. This figure is technically unique to this set, although no individual piece of him is unique. Only the combination of parts is unique. A very similar version of him was released in another set, although that version had a cape and a hood instead of a light gray hairpiece. Next up, we have Luke. He's obviously also got flesh-colored skin. His legs are white with printing to match his white robed torso, which also continues onto his back. His hairpiece is much more dramatic and picture accurate than some of the older versions we've seen throughout the years. He's also got 2 faces, one with a neutral smile, and another with a somewhat serious or unhappy facial expression. Now let's take a look at the Tuscan Raider. He has beige printed legs to go with his beige printed torso. It's printed on both sides. It has a very detailed dual molded head. It's quite realistic, and I'm impressed that LEGO managed to do such a clean job with all the color and dimension. At first I wasn't really sure why we got a Tuscan Raider in this set, but I'll explain why I think we did in just a moment. First, let's take a look at R2-D2. He's got a flat silver headpiece, and is otherwise white. He's got very detailed printing on the body. You probably haven't realized, but we've had several different versions of R2-D2 over the last few years, and they've all looked just about the same. This version can be identified via the subtle printing changes on the head. This version has dark pink dots and enlarged blue squares and projectors. As of right now, this is the latest version of him. When compared to the film, one thing is notably absent: C-3PO. Arguably, he has very little to do with this scene, seeing as he's powered off most of the time, but this leads into my theory why we got a Tuscan Raider. Now, of course, the most simple answer here is including a Tuscan Raider makes the set more entertaining. But I believe what you're supposed to do is also buy Luke's Landspeeder, and that set contains a Jawa and C-3PO. Together, between these two sets, you would have one Jawa, one Tuscan Raider, Obi-Wan, R2-D2, and C-3PO with two versions of Luke. And together, these two sets complete the whole scene. Now let's talk about those clips on the back of the hut. I've heard that LEGO was supposed to release another set to complete it, but I think that's pretty unlikely, seeing as the other half of the hut really wouldn't make any sense. Now maybe this was their original intention, but seeing as this set has already been out for a while, and it'll probably be retiring sometime this year, I don't think it's going to happen. In any case, I've seen dozens of custom attachments, and it's a great excuse to build your own. Now let's move on to the BitScore. First up, we have value. This set retails for $30, and it contains 200 pieces. This brings the price per piece to 15 cents. This set comes with 4 figures, meaning that the figure to piece ratio is 1 to 50, so there's 1 figure for every 50 pieces. This brings the total value score to 7 out of 8. On to collectability. This set isn't a special edition, it is licensed, and it does contain at least one exclusive figure, although it's not a truly unique figure. It does contain exclusive parts. This set isn't exactly rare since it's available at retail, so for collectability, it gets 3 out of 8. The instructions are very helpful, and they include all the parts you need for every step. This set doesn't have any stickers. It's not great for 2 to build. My only real design complaint with this set is the fact that it doesn't have a back wall, and we never got an attachment piece for the back. As a result, this set gets a buildability score of 6 out of 8. On to playability. This set is very durable and nothing really comes off. The small details that do, like the exhaust on the roof, are very easily put back on. For its size, this set is loaded with features, and it's very detailed. I don't even think you can fit more details or functionality into such a small set, so because of that, it gets a playability score of 8 out of 8. This brings the total bit score to 24 out of 32. So far, the highest ranking set. I'd have to recommend this set to both a younger and an older audience. It makes for a great playset and a great display piece. As of this review, you can still find this set in store for $30. If you really like it, I'd recommend picking one up before they're discontinued, since we don't really know how much longer they're going to be on shelves. What do you think about this set? Let me know in the comments below. This has been BrickBits. Thanks for watching.